doctors, if you don't know what you're writing off, it's like you're driving an exotic sports car blindfold. The exotic sports car is your practice, but you're driving it blindfolded. As a car guy, that makes me have goosebumps, Naren, to think that someone would drive a high performance sports car blindfolded. That makes me very nervous. But that's what you're doing. That's what you're doing. So start get your arms around. Maybe your accountant can help you figure that out. If you work with an ADCPA accountant, they absolutely can help you figure that out. But ask your accountant, hey, can you help me figure out what I'm actually producing? And once you discover the difference between your production and collection, and that the majority of it being by insurance write-off, it might motivate you to start to kick these insurance companies goodbye. Let me be clear. The insurance company doesn't care one little bit about you, doctor. There's 4 entities involved in the insurance game today. There's a dental insurance company that writes the policy. There's the dentist that provides the care, the patient that receives the care, and the employer that bought the policy. In those 4 entities, there's only one winner, and that's the dental insurance company. Everybody else loses. You lose, doc, because of the 45% you're forced to write off based on your contract. The patient loses because of all the silly games the insurance companies play. Heaven forbid that your good patient would show up 5 months and 29 days after their last hygiene appointment, because that one's going to be stamped denied because they didn't have a 6-month wait between hygiene appointments. And then the employer loses because they're quite literally being gouged for their premiums. They're being massively, they overpay premiums because the insurance company has them over a barrel. It's about time that lopsided, one-sided game goes away. It's a win-lose game and you're losing. Now, the most common question I get, whether it's in a webinar format or in a live course, is, I'm practicing in a highly competitive area. Can I even consider successfully resigning from PPO plans? Well, our experience is absolutely. We've helped dentists in all 50 states do that in every locational environment: urban area, suburban area, large town, medium-sized town, small town, remote practice, practice in a company town like Seattle. Seattle has many employers, but there's 4 big ones: Microsoft, software and computers, Boeing Aircraft, another big employer. A third one is Amazon, who has their world headquarters and a massive fulfillment center in Seattle. And then Starbucks is headquartered in Seattle as well. Now, not everybody that lives in Seattle works for one of those 4 companies, but many of them do. And guess what, Naren? They all provide PPO plans to their employees.
Yes.
But we've had success with dentists in every area of Seattle, even with all that influence of the PPO plans, successfully resigned from PPO plans. One of the keys to doing this is to do it in a friendly way for your patient. And here's the great news. Even once you resign, your patient can still choose you as their dental office. They can use whatever benefits they have right in your practice. We're going to still file their claims for you like we always have. And we're going to be on their side to help them get every dollar of benefit that they have. And once patients realize that they can still choose you, then they'll often make the decision to stay with you. So we've developed this 6-step plan to successfully resign from PPO plans. And it's a blueprint to follow. Let me walk through those 6 steps very quickly for you. Step number 1 is know your data. That means that we need to know how many plans you're contracted with, including the umbrella plans, because very often there's umbrella plans that you're not even aware of that you're contracted with, but it was buried in the fine print of the PPO contracts. We need to know every plan you're contracted with. Secondly, we need to know how many active patients you have in each plan. And we determine that based on any patient from that plan that's had an appointment in your practice in the last 18 months. You can put that filter in your computer system to get you that report. And thirdly, we need to know how much notice time is required to resign from the plan. Every plan has a notice requirement. It's 30, 60, or 90 days, most commonly 60 or 90 today. That's going to be buried somewhere in your PPO contract. Don't waste any of your time trying to find it. Just have your insurance coordinator call the insurance company and say, hey, we're thinking of resigning. How much notice are we required to give? And the insurance company is required to tell you that. That's step 1. Step 2, master digital marketing. You need to replace Delta as I'm using Delta because they're a 5,000-pound gorilla. You need to replace Delta as the source of new patients with, wait for it, Google. as the source of new patients. Where would you rather get your patients from, Delta or Google? I know that one. I know that one. It's Google.
Google, because it
It's
costs
Google.
you nothing almost. I mean, it's like literally cents on the dollar versus PPO plans. You're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars, even like you said, $500,000.
That doctor that I used in the example in there, that's writing off $537,000 a year. He used to spend $537,000 a year on marketing. Today he spends $15,000 a year. What would you rather spend? And he spends $15,000 a year by mastering digital marketing. The way he's doing that is he's an Equa client. He's one of your clients now, where you help him master digital marketing. If you'd like to learn more about how Equa can help you with that, go to www.equa.com/MSM, marketing strategy meeting. And think about it, doctor. And this is not a trick question. What would you rather spend, $537 a year to attract new patients, or $15,000 a year? Take as long as you like. Step 3, you want to have a very effective in-office membership plan. That's a granular detail, but it's very important. An in-office membership plan allows you to attract people in your community who don't have dental insurance. By the way, that universe of people is growing massively. Step 4 is we want to fully train all of your team members in what their role is in communicating with your patients about successfully resigning from PPO plans. So we spend a lot of time training your team members so they know how to support the office in this journey to successfully resign from PPO plans. Step 5 is we want to elevate the relationship-driven aspect of your practice. The more relationship-driven you are, the more likely you are to keep your existing patients when you go out of network. Our goal is to lose as few existing patients as possible. Now, I wish there was a way that I could tell you that there's a way to do this and not lose any patients. I'm not going to tell you that because I've never seen it happen. You're going to lose patients. But one of the metrics that we use is we track exactly how many patients we lose. And the goal is to keep as many of those as possible. And one of the best ways to do that is to elevate the relationship-driven aspect of your practice so they never want to go anywhere else. And step 6 is kind of an ongoing step that you'll continually revisit. But that's the idea of adding selected high-value services to the services that you offer to your patients. Now, I can't give you a generic blueprint to follow there because dentists like different flavors of dentistry. There's all different kinds of flavors of dentistry. But I'd like you to consider adding what I call high-value services. What are some examples of high-value services? Well, we could go back to the clinical comment that Dr. Avi Patel made in the opening of our podcast, and you could incorporate aligners, and you could incorporate adult orthodontics. Adult orthodontics would be an example of a great high-value service. Maybe you place and restore implants. Another great high-value service, Dan, if you're interested. All of this is qualified by where your interests are. You have to pick the things you're interested in. If you're not interested in placing implants, then find a specialist that can place them and you can restore them. But if you are interested, then consider advancing your skills to where you can competently place implants in your practice. Another example would be cosmetic dentistry. Another example might be incorporating oral conscious sedation in your practice to make every visit comfortable for patients that have low anxiety. Another example might be doing complex full mouth restorative dentistry. Another example might be providing treating patients with obstructive sleep apnea with appliance therapy. Maybe you enjoy doing the ankylosing procedure, which is the lip and tongue tie release procedure on infants so that infants can successfully nurse. Maybe that's something you'd like to have. Maybe you enjoy dealing with patients that have TMD, TMJ issues. There's all kinds of different flavors of dentistry. And pick the ones you like and take a massive amount of CE in it and incorporate that into your practice. Now, the patient's still going to ask, hey, is that dental implant covered by my insurance? But when your financial coordinator says, well, George, unfortunately, no, implants are much more advanced and your dental insurance only covers the most basic things. The patient is going to say, well, it didn't hurt to ask. And very often they still want to have that treatment done because people will pay for what they want before they'll pay for what they need. Well, there's those 6 steps. Let me walk through them again really quickly for you. Step 1, know your data. Step 2, master digital marketing. to replace any patients you might lose and also replace the historic flow of patients that have come from the PPO plans. Step 3, create an effective in-office membership plan. Step 4, fully train your team so they know what to say and how to say it to your patients. Step 5, elevate the relationship-driven aspect of your practice. And step 6, consider adding high-value services that you get excited about learning more about and providing in your practice. There's your blueprint. So if you want to know more about that, I would encourage you to come to our next masterclass. Our next masterclass, as I mentioned in the opening, is coming up on November 1st. It's 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern time. Go ahead and do the time translation based on where you're located in the country. You get 3 hours of CE, and I'll go through copious detail about each one of those plans, each one of those steps to successfully resign from PPO plans. And again, to register for that, go to thrivingdentist.com/masterclass.